Every devil gotta flee. You don't have no reason. I'm bold as a lion, I don't fear no evil. Blood of Jesus on me. I'm covered, I'm lethal. Yeah, came out to find out I walk with authority. Devil been lying, but the truth is restoring me. Yeah. I got the word and it's cutting like sword to me. Step in the spirit, ain't nothing controlling me.
Hey fam, and welcome back to Sacred Singleness. You guys, I just came back from my vacation. I was cruising for Mother's Day. I was enjoying my son's birthday, my sister's graduation. So we're back, and I've been a little under the weather. So that's why I'm a little delayed this week with posting. I try to do 2 a week, and so I said I have to go ahead and, at least submit this one for this week so you guys can get some content. But I said I gotta get up, I gotta do it, I can't be lazy about it. So let's talk about something that people rarely admit out loud, and that's pretty much envy, right? That's the next deadly silent sin. And before you go off clicking off the channel or not listening to this, saying that that's not me, I need you guys to stay with me, because envy is such a sneaky little devious thing. Like most people, they don't walk around saying I'm jealous. Nobody goes around being like, oh, I'm jealous. And some people might say it, jokingly, but really, if you look at it, there's nothing to joke about when they're like, oh, I'm jealous. No, you really are. You're just using your little sarcasm to kind of, hide the fact that you're not jealous, right? Quote unquote, or the fact that you are jealous, I should say. And envy hides, guys. It hides like in comparison. It hides in insecurity. It hides in bitterness. It hides in constantly looking at everybody else's life instead of living our own lives. Because if you think about it, envy is not like, wow, I admire that. That's different. Okay? Envy is, I want what they have. And now I feel some type of way because I don't. Right? I don't have what they have. And if we really sit with ourselves and be honest about it, social media in this day and age has made things 100 times worse. Like, yeah, envy has always existed. Back in my day when I was growing up, social media was not this big. It's more like MySpace. I don't know if a lot of you remember MySpace, but it was like MySpace. We had AOL. We had, group chats and things like that. But, we didn't really... In order for us to envy something, or be jealous of something, we had to visually see it, like if we ever came across it, right? Now, social media is so abundantly, like, huge. Like, there's TikTok, there is Instagram, there's Facebook, right? There's Snapchat. There's such an abundance of, like, media centers that you guys can go and look at. That just, with a click away, we see all these things so easily and readily available for us. And what's so funny is that, it's not all true. A lot of content creators out there, they edit videos and they sit there and actually portray something, and pretend to live this lifestyle. And they might be mad, but here they are smiling and making it seem like everything's okay. And little do you know, they might be struggling with other things, or they might be arguing with their partner, or they might be, it's a lot going on. And so we start comparing ourselves with that, right? And so now that you are able to access all of these social media streams, now you're sitting there comparing your life to hundreds of people before you even hit your breakfast, like before you even take a bite out of or a drink out of your coffee. You ever just scroll online and suddenly like your whole mood changes? Have you actually ever experienced that? You're all happy and all of a sudden you start scrolling and your mood changes. It shifts. You were fine 2 minutes ago, and then suddenly everybody's engaged, everybody's traveling, everybody's glowing up, everybody's successful, everybody's looking happy. And now you're sitting there like, God, what about me? And that's something that we're always constantly asking God, right? God, what about me? What about me? What about me? We stopped to look at other people's lives. And you know what's so funny? I was on social media today. Not me that I'm talking about, social media. And I came across this post that really brought a lot of, I should say, encouragement to me. But it was basically a post about a train, right? And it said, what if the train was never late? You know? And so it gave us a picture of like an itinerary or a schedule for the trains. One was at 6 a.m, one was at 8:15, and the other one was like at 9:45. Something along those lines. I can't really remember exactly the times to be exact. But in that image, when you went to the next one, it said some drove to their destination quicker than others. Others were a little bit slower. But nobody ever in the 6 o'clock said you were late because you didn't get on the 6 o'clock ride. Your train, okay, so let me make sense, because I know I'm not making any sense right now. And my mind is boggled a little bit because I can't think straight. But basically saying, you are in your own route. You are in your own path. Some people got to the destination a little bit earlier than others. Doesn't mean you're late. Okay? It doesn't mean that you're delayed. It just means that your train maybe wasn't the 6 a.m. train. Your train might be the 9:45. And whether you got there quicker or whether you got there slower, the destination, okay, it might be either be the same destination, or 2, a different destination. Everybody has different lives. Everybody has different paths. Everybody has different outcomes. Okay? And everybody has their own timeline. And we can't compare everybody's timeline with ours. Okay? Mankind, us humans, we're the ones that said, oh, you have to have kids by a certain age. Oh, you have to be married by a certain age. Oh, you have to buy a house. And the only reason we said that is because we got the statistics with what's going on in the world, with the age groups. You know, those little like polls and things that people do to say, oh, out of 100 people, in this age group. It's kind of like when you go to the doctor, right? And they give you like your percentile, like your growth percentile if you have kids. And you go and they're like, oh, your son's in the 10th percentile. Or he's in the 90th percentile or 75th percentile growth track, or whatever the case might be. That is based off of children around that age group. That is something we created. It is not what God said. Okay? So, in other words, we're humans and we're putting statistics on certain things and expectations on certain things. And we're living based on what the world is telling us. We're not living based on what God designed for us. We're not living based on what God said about us. So, don't start comparing yourselves, because all that's going to do is just put you in a bad mood. Okay? It's going to ignite that envy. And really, it's not going to do you no good. Okay? And I said, and to be honest with you, I had to check myself with this a while back, because comparison can happen so quietly, you guys, and you don't even realize it at first, okay? Because it starts very small, and it's with the comparison of timelines, right? Comparison of looks, like, oh, she got that body, or she looks so good at her age, or whatever the case might be. It's comparing, opportunities for some of you guys. Maybe comparing relationships, comparing growth. And before you actually know it, someone else's blessing starts making you feel like you're lacking. Oh, I want to cry right now. And the only reason I want to cry right now, let me tell you, before I got on this podcast, I was spending some time with God. I was spending some time with God. And I was talking to him about me. And I was telling him how I feel, a little bit distant from him this week. I haven't been coming to my favorite spot. By the way, I'm at my favorite spot right now. I was able to leave work a little bit earlier, but I'm at my favorite spot right now. And I said, I need to come and sit down with God and just talk to him, read my Bible a little bit, because I've been traveling and I haven't had the chance, and I feel like I've been slacking. I'm not gonna lie, a little bit. I've been a little bit distanced from my Bible lately, as far as reading, right? And I'm talking to him, and I was like, God, sometimes my faith gets shaken a little bit, right? Like, I start losing some faith. I start losing a little bit of the faith that I have, right? And even though in the back of my mind and in my heart, I know for a fact that regardless of the outcomes of things in my life, I still have faith. Like, I'm not gonna shy or stray away from him. We're human, and so sometimes we doubt, right? And so I was asking him, and he's so funny because he doesn't do things in my time. And this is what I'm talking about, timelines. He doesn't do things in my timeline. For example, yesterday I dropped my son off at his dad's house, and I'm driving. I said, you know what, let me take the long way back home, right? And I'm talking about, instead of it being an 8-minute ride, it was a 30-minute ride, right? So I took the long way back home because I wanted to listen to some worship music. And funny enough, this specific song, I'm not going to go into detail about my life and anything, but I kept telling God, I was like, God, today you haven't shown me my numbers, and I've asked you about something, and you haven't shown me my numbers at all. And funny enough, this song came on just out of nowhere, okay? I'm telling you, it just came out of nowhere. And the cars in front of me, you guys, I can't even make this up. One of the cars in front of me had the number 69, and the car right next to it had the 96 on it. And I started crying because I'm like, when I asked you to show me, you didn't show me, but you showed me just randomly. And now that I am sitting here staring out at the ocean, right, I told God, I was like, and it's kind of late. It's like, I want to say today, it's 5:17 p.m., okay, where I'm at. And after I was done talking to him and praying about certain things to him, he took me back to Psalms 102. And that is where my pleading to him is. I have a whole letter in there for him of my desires, of the things that I'm asking him for. And I said, he brought me there. I asked him, I said, give me some hope, is what I told him. And I opened my Bible, and it led me straight to that, right? But I was still a little doubtful. And I said, God, just show me a sign. I was like, let me see a dolphin. Guys, this was about, I want to say 30 minutes ago. And I'm like actively searching for like a good 10 minutes. A good 10 minutes. And I'm looking, and I'm actively searching, and I was like, okay, I guess. I closed my Bible. I put it up after I finished reading. And as I am talking to you guys, there goes two, I couldn't miss it because I wasn't even staring at the water like that. I was like literally like just staring into the sky, and something just say look down. And when I look down as I'm talking to you guys, there goes two beautiful dolphins right across my vehicle. And I'm like, you are so funny, God. You talk to me, but you're also letting me know that I'm not in control, and that you're going to give it to me when you decide to give it to me, not when I ask you for it. So it's like, girl, have some patience, okay? It's basically what I took out of that. But I'm sorry. I know I kind of diverted, but I don't know. I had to stop because I don't like to stop my podcast. I'm very chatty. You guys already know that. But let's go back to this podcast about envy, guys. And the only reason I say that is because, certain things that I've asked for, I haven't received yet, right? And it's so difficult when you've seen people around you constantly getting those things that you're praying for, right? So it's very difficult, and it's very easily to, see someone else's blessing, and you might think it might be a blessing, and it might not be a blessing, because if it's not from God, really, how much of a blessing can it be? But again, we don't think about those things, and so we start comparing ourselves, and we're like, well, what am I doing wrong? What am I lacking? And quite frankly, a lot of times we're not lacking anything. The only thing that we're lacking is lack of faith. Maybe we just need to work a little bit on our anger. Maybe we just need to work a little bit on our on something. God is having you prepare for whatever it is that you're asking for, and we just have to have faith, okay, basically. But let's go back to James chapter 3, verse 16. It says, "For where you have envy and selfish ambition, there you find disorder and every evil practice." And I wanted you guys to focus on the word disorder, because envy creates internal chaos, right? And it steals our peace. It steals our gratitude. It steals our joy. And some examples that I can give you, it's secretly feeling irritated when someone else succeeds. That's what envy looks like. Or it can look like struggling to celebrate people genuinely. Like you pretend that you're happy for them, but you really aren't. It's comparing your journey of healing to someone else's TikTok or highlight reel on Instagram, right? It's feeling like you're behind because someone else is ahead in the area you desire. And that is like the most common one. It's when someone else has what you want. And the crazy part is that sometimes you don't even dislike the person. That could be your family member, that could be your best friend, that could be someone that you're really cool with, and you're just frustrated with your own timing. It's not even the fact that you don't like that person or you're not happy for them. You're just, why do they have it and not me, type of thing, okay? And enviness and singleness, I have to reel everybody in right now. Envy and singleness gets really loud. Because now every time somebody posts either engagement photos, wedding pictures, pregnancy announcement, a new career, that's making a ton of money, trips and vacations, and just living a soft girl era life. Or maybe if you're a man, this man is opening his own business, got all these cars, just thriving in life financially and in all aspects, in all areas, right? Just to give you some examples. And you're happy for them, but it's also hurting a little. Especially if this is like people that you know, right? And then the guilt kicks in because you're like, why does this bother me? And to be completely transparent with you, it's because you're human, right? We're human, and we have feelings, and we have emotions. And so sometimes it's just navigating those emotions and learning how to control them, and really sitting with ourselves and being like, we can't continue to do that to ourselves. We can't continue to compare our lives with other people. I know I mentioned previously that, everybody has everything and has nothing at all. Okay, and for those that maybe didn't see or listen to the previous episode, not the one for Mother's Day, but I think the previous before that, which was Lust. I want to say that's what it was. But like I said, everybody has everything and has nothing. Because someone's praying for your life while you're praying for someone else's. And someone else's has it worse than you. So it's like, we're never really content as human beings, and we have to learn how to be content with what we have and where we've gotten so far, and just thank God for the things that we do have and how far He's gotten us through every single struggle and hardship we've experienced. But guys, comparison becomes very dangerous. I just want to say that when it starts making you resent your own life. Okay? It really does. Like, I don't want you guys feeling like you guys are losers. I don't want you feeling like you're not an accomplished person. Sometimes the road for some people are just harder than others. And you have to have that willpower, and you just have to pray and ask God, for wisdom, ask God for strength, ask God to help you, and really, really, really put some effort in your end, and do things with honesty and dignity. Right? And you will achieve those goals. You will achieve things. It might not be immediately. Like for example, I was working in the job that I'm in right now. Just to give you some background information, in the job that I am now, this past May 12th became 15 years that I've been in this facility that I work with. Right? And 15 years ago, I would have never imagined that I would have been the rehab director at my position. I would have been a director. Never in my entire life I wasn't even thinking of getting to that level. And I've been doing this for 4 years now. I've been a director for 4 years now. So my whole thing is, it took 10 years, actually 11 years, for me to get to this position. You guys, you have to understand, like, nothing just happens overnight. But when it happened at its right time. Oh, God. It happened at its right time. Oh. And these are the little things that I try to tell you guys, and I try to tell myself too. It's like, look at the trajectory of what God has brought you. Look at the past and how much you've grown from here, and that should be enough strength, enough faith for you to be like, God has been good. Why am I doubting? Why am I envious? Why am I this and that? Everything will come at its right time. Baby, the Holy Spirit is getting to me today. You hear me? And he's literally getting to me in this podcast, because he knows God knows so well how to have me have a moment of reflection and of clarity. And he just literally clocked me right now. I just gotta tell you. And I don't even want to cry because I'm already stuffed up. I can barely breathe trying to make this podcast for y'all. Anyways, let's go back. So, guys, okay, where was I? Envy, right? Let's go back to envy. Envy blinds you to your own blessings. It does. And you become so focused on what God is doing for other people that you stop noticing what God is doing in you, right? Oh my God, I can barely breathe. And that's dangerous. 1 second. Because what I was saying, envy will have you rushing seasons that you were supposed to grow through. Okay? And if we go back to the book of Proverbs, chapter 14, verse 30, it says, a heart at peace gives life to the body, but envy rots the bones. And I want you guys to focus on the word rots, because that means envy destroys slowly. It destroys quietly and internally. And honestly, envy usually points to, a lot of times, insecurity. And it exposes areas where you feel unseen, right? You feel like you were overlooked, like you were forgotten, like you were inadequate. Because secure people can celebrate others without questioning their own worth, right? And to be honest, one thing I have really realized is that what God has for you does not require you to compete with somebody else. I'm going to say that again, okay? And I'm going to say it again in a different way. What God has for you will not miss you. Okay? You don't have to compete for it. You don't have to fight for it. You don't have to steal it. You don't have to No, no, no. What it's for you, it's for you. And nobody can take that away if it's from God. And if you are thinking, if you're an envious person or you notice envious traits in you, start working on trying to heal yourself, right? And what does healing look like when you've healed from envy, right? And what that looks like is being grateful, right? Learning gratitude again, celebrating people genuinely, okay, from your heart and not out of fakeness. Trusting God's timing, understanding that different paths are not wrong paths. They might be just redirection, and that everybody's timeline is not supposed to match yours. And let's talk about how sometimes you might not even want their life. You're just looking for an outlet to get relief from your own frustrations. And I'm going to leave you guys with some reflection questions because I literally feel like I'm out of breath. My lungs actually hurt right now. But I want you guys to really sit with this. And I want you guys to ask yourself, who or what do I constantly compare myself to? And I want you guys to be honest, okay? Has comparison made me resent seasons that were supposed to grow me? Okay? Ask yourself that. Has comparison made me resent seasons that were supposed to grow me? Okay? So, if you're driving or in a place where you can write it down or whatnot, just rewind it. You guys know, probably more technology literate than me. But let's go ahead and pray really quick so I can let you guys go. God, help me stop measuring my life against everybody else's. Teach me gratitude, teach me contentment, heal the insecurity that comparison keeps exposing, and help me trust what you have for me. And it will come in your timing, not in mine. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. And okay, fam, the next episode, we're going to be talking about greed. And listen, greed is not just about the money, because I know a lot of people think greed, they think money, they think about food, they think about all that kind of stuff. It's not even close, okay? But I will be talking to you guys soon in the next episode. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Bye, guys.